Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael and today I'm going to show you how to make these mini cheesecakes. You are not going to want to miss this recipe. Stick with me and I'll show you how to make it. Let's get started making the crust now for our mini cheesecakes. So I have set up here in front of me is a food processor. If you don't have a food processor or you don't want to drag yours out, you can definitely do this without it. You can take a gallon Ziploc bag and you can put the graham crackers in the Ziploc baggie and then use a rolling pin and you can roll over the top of the bag and it will crush up the crackers just as well as this food processor will. Let's get started. So what we have 12 graham crackers that we have here, and I'm going to go ahead and break these up and put these into our food processor. This is completely optional. 1 teaspoon of sugar and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and we're going to add that into the graham crackers now. Let's give this a mix. Let me check to see if we've got all of them incorporated, and it looks like we do. All right, so now I have melted here, I've got 6 tablespoons of butter that we're going to add into our graham crackers here. And we're going to give this a blend. Taking a spoonful of it out and you compress it in your hand and you can turn it over, and if it holds its shape then you know you've got enough butter in it because it will hold its shape once we put it into the muffin tins. So this is where we need to be with this. So I will take this out of the processor here and I'm going to show you what's coming up next when we put it into our muffin tins. Stay tuned. So now I have the graham cracker mixture out of the food processor. At that point, as I was taking it out, I did test it to see if it needed any more sugar or cinnamon at that point. And for me, it was right where it needed to be. So definitely you can add some more if that at that point before you completely remove all of it. If you wanted any more sugar, if you wanted it more sweeter, or if you wanted more of a cinnamon taste to it, you could definitely add it at that point. So definitely this recipe is completely adjustable as you go. So definitely if you want it a little bit sweeter than what I have here, then definitely that's the time you want to add it. So I have a muffin tray here that I have, and I have lined it with the paper cupcake holders, and there's 12 in this one. So I'm going to take a spoon and we're going to put about 1 to 2 tablespoons. I like a thick crust in my cheesecake here. So I'm going to load these up and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to pack them in. All right, so I've got each one of my paper tins here lined with the graham cracker filling. You can see there. I'll take one of them out, you can see it. So I've just got that in there like that. It's about 1/4 of an inch is what I've got in the base of those. And then I have my back of my measuring spoon here. This is a 1/4 cup measuring spoon. It fits down into these paper cups really nicely. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to push that down in there just like that. And that will compact your graham cracker crust down into the bottom. You can see how that did that nicely on that. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that across all of these and we'll get started next on the filling. Okay, now we've got everything set up. We're going to work on our filling for our cheesecake. I've got my stand mixer here with the smaller bowl attachment in it that we're going to be using. And in the bowl, I've already placed my 2 8-ounce blocks of cream cheese. And I've had the cream cheese sitting out so that it's at room temperature. You definitely don't want to pull the cream cheese right out of the refrigerator because it needs to be softened so that it can work easier when we're trying to mix this up. And with that, I've got 2 eggs that also have had out at room temperature. I've got 1 cup of sweetened condensed milk, and I've got a 1/4 cup of sour cream. And we're going to zest the 1 lemon that I have here, and we're going to save that because we're going to use the juice out of the lemon also that's going to go into the mixture. And I've got some vanilla here that we're going to be using, and we're going to use 1 teaspoon of that. And that's going to be the ingredients that we're going to have for our cheesecake filling. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. I'm going to turn the mixer on here, and we're going to blend in the cream cheese that we have, and I'll be right back with you. All right, that looks like that has blended up very nicely. And now we're going to zest our lemon. So when you're zesting lemon or any kind of citrus, you want to make sure you just get the skin. You don't want to go down into the white part of the fruit because that's when it starts getting bitter. So we just want to hit the outside of it is all we're going to do with that. So we're just going to zest that lemon, and we just want the yellow part of this lemon here. As you can see, I'm just barely just scraping the top of it there, and I've got it all on my tool here, my planer. All right, so there's the zest from my lemon, as you can see there, and we're going to dump that into to our mixture. We're going to mix that in. Now I'm going to take the juice of my lemon. We're going to juice that and we're going to add that in. And we're going to give that a good mix. All right, so now let's add our 1/4 cup of sour cream. And we're going to add our 1 cup of sweetened condensed milk. And we're going to give this a blend. All right, now we're going to add 1 egg at a time. We want to just put 1 egg at a time in there. At this point, we don't want to overprocess it. So we just want to make sure that the eggs get mixed in with it, incorporated in it, but we don't want to let it in there and just keep it blending on it. So we're going to add 1 egg at a time. All right, we'll add our 2nd egg. And we're going to add our 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And we'll give that one more blend. And that's it. So at this point, we're going to lower this down and I'll show you what this looks like. You can see that it's nice and blended up. All right, so now let's get ready to put this in our little tins and I'll be right back. Now we're ready to fill our cupcake tins with our filling for our cheesecake. So I have taken some pecans, and this is going to be a little bit of a different little twist to it, is I'm going to put some of these pecans in the lining of these cupcakes, just a few down in the bottom, just a little bit of a surprise. When you bite into it, you'll get a little surprise of a pecan. So I'm going to put some of these in there with half of them, and I'm going to leave half of them without. All right. And then we're going to take an ice cream scoop and we're going to scoop the filling into the little cups. All right, so you can see that the ice cream scoop is working pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the rest of these off camera. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to fill them all over the top because they will rise a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these and we'll be right back. All right, I am back. I have my muffin tins filled now. And as you can see, I had enough batter to do another 6 more. So this batch today yielded me 18 of my mini cheesecakes. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my preheated oven at 325. And I do have convection. And we're going to be checking on these. They usually take about 25 to 30 minutes. But definitely, because everybody's stove cooks differently, keep a watch on them and make sure they're not going to burn. You don't want them to get brown. You just want them to get done. And I'll show you what that looks like when we get to that point. But about halfway through, I'm going to go in and turn my pans around about 15 minutes. And just to make sure that they're cooking evenly on all sides. So I will see you back when these are done. All right, so we've got our cheesecake here. You can see how they've firmed up, and the way you can tell if they're done is when you jiggle them around just to make sure that they're not jiggly. That's a way to tell that they're done. We want to wait now for them to cool for about 30 minutes to an hour. I'm going to let these sit here on the rack and cool down. You do not want to take them out of the tins right now, because if you do, they'll just fall apart. So we want them to set, cool down. So this is where we have to be patient with it. And I'm going to come back with you in just a few minutes and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these. So stay tuned for the final product. I am back. It's been about an hour. The cheesecake has cooled down. And I wanted to show you what the cheesecake looked like after it's cooled down. So I've taken the wrapper off this one here. And you can see that we've got a nice little crust on it. And we've got a good filling on the inside on the top of it. So like I said before, do not try to remove those out of those papers before about 30 minutes. You want them to cool down. If you try to take them out too soon before that, they're just going to fall apart on you. They need to settle in and cool down before you take them out of the paper. So I was in the store the other day and I saw these strawberries and I thought, oh my goodness, what can they look so good, I'm just going to get them. And I was thinking, what can I do with them? And I thought, I'm going to make a cheesecake with some strawberry topping on them. So I took the strawberries last night and I cut them up and I put some sugar on them and let them set overnight so they'd get really sweet. So how I'm going to decorate these tonight is I've got some strawberry preserves. I'm going to put just a little bit in the center. And then I'm going to take one of my strawberries and we're going to put it right down in the top of it. And there we go. That's how we're going to garnish off our cheesecake. So you can use any kind of fruit you like. If you like blueberries or anything else you got, peaches, just it's up to you. If you want to leave them plain, they're just as good without anything on them also. Or you can put some kind of whipped topping on them. That'd be great with that also. So let's give it a try. That is a really good cheesecake. You're going to have to try this recipe. It is so easy. It comes together quickly. Give it a try. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it. And I want to thank you again for staying with me as we complete this project today of how I make my miniature cheesecakes. Enjoy. Thanks for stopping by.